Today we're standing here at the deck of Ojo Labs, a real estate tech company here out of Austin, Texas, doing amazing things on incredible growth. And we're standing today with a nationally recognized real estate expert, Mr. Chris Heller, who is currently the Chief Real Estate Officer here at Ojo Labs with this wonderful view behind me. Chris, I'm so excited to walk and talk with you. Thank you for being here with us today.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm excited too.
Absolutely, I'm so pumped. Chris, tell everybody a little bit about yourself. Where are you from, how long you've been in real estate, and what you're excited to talk about today.
I'm from Southern California. I grew up born and raised there. I came to Austin in like 2010. I've been in real estate. I got my license at the age of 20, so that's almost 40 years.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Well, and we've got something to share with the audience today. Today you are a published author officially, is that right?
Yeah, came out 2 days ago.
Dominant Thoughts. I cannot wait to dive into this. Pick it up on Amazon, anywhere else?
Amazon or dominantthoughts.com.
That's awesome. Join us, y'all. Awesome, Chris. Well, again, so excited to have you here with us today. And I really want to just dive right into it. What I got so excited about talking to you today is you're someone who, when I met you, getting to know you, you can't really tell how insanely competitive you are on the surface. But as you start to peel back the layers, you start to realize that almost everything that you kind of bring to the table is around competition and winning. And so how has that driven you in real estate? How has that gotten you to where you are today?
I've always, I am extremely competitive, but I'm more competitive with myself than I am, with other people.
Sure.
It's like always wanting to improve, always wanting to be better.
Yeah.
Never satisfied, which can be exhausting. But
yeah.
But that's that absolutely contributed to my constant drive to do better, to get better, to do more, to be more effective. So I think that's whether it was natural or I don't know, it's been there a long time.
Yeah, and I love that you say competition, but competition with yourself more than anything, because I feel like so often when people are in the grind, they start to compare themselves to others and lose sight of their goals, right?
Yeah, I've always been really mindful of not doing that. I always use the analogy of like a 100-yard dash.
Yeah.
Inevitably, the guy that looks over his shoulder or looks at the guy next to him in the next lane always gets passed. So I was really mindful about keeping the blinders on and just focus on the guy in the mirror.
100%. I love that. I'm obviously going to dive into the book. It's 180 pages, so for me...
118.
18, oh wow.
That's like an hour.
Yeah, I'll do it. I can get that done. But tell us, what should I be looking for? What are going to be the highlights that I'm going to take away from the book?
There's probably two things that'll happen. One is it'll remind you of things that you knew but you aren't focused on or aren't thinking about. And the other thing that'll happen is there'll be some new thoughts or new ways of thinking about things where you go, that's right, I need to do that.
Yeah.
And mostly around mindset, how to be effective.
Yeah.
It's a story. It's a story about, there's really only two characters in the book, and a mentor and a mentee.
Who didn't know he was going to be a mentee, which is awesome.
No.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. And earlier we were joking, you were saying this is not a real estate book, which I loved. What kind of book would you say it is?
It's a business book, leadership book, sales book.
Yeah.
I've been in real estate my whole life, so writing it, in my mind, I had, anyone who has a real estate team is going to want their team to read the book.
Yeah.
And so I didn't write it for that, but that was always in the back of my mind.
Yeah.
Like, I would want my team to read this. I want my kids to read this.
Yeah.
I shared it early on, a draft with a friend of mine, and she goes, I love this. And my son who's about to graduate and go to college will not leave for college until he reads this book.
Yeah.
And I heard that and I thought,
that's awesome.
Mission accomplished.
And you know, most agents that I meet, like a good agent is typically really great at client services, but a great agent is good at client services and then really good at sales also. I feel like agents, you know, coming into the industry don't realize that, you know, this is a sales gig and you got to be sharp.
Absolutely, it is. Early on, I used to hear agents. A lot of agents resisted being called salespeople.
Yep.
And I took the opposite approach. Like, you are a salesperson. You're selling yourself. You're selling your services. You know, you're not selling someone a house. You know, some people like houses or they don't like houses.
Yeah.
They want to buy them or they don't want to buy them.
Yeah.
But who they're going to use to represent them is all sales.
Yeah. Yeah. And sales is not about, you know, people, the perception is, oh, it's convincing or persuasive or like sneaky. And it's like, being a great salesperson is helping someone come to a good decision.
Yeah.
Whether yes or no.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Yeah.
But let me help you get to that decision, because decision making is tough and people need assistance to do that. So good. Awesome. Well, I can't wait to dive in. All right, Chris, I want to take this time towards the end of our morning walk and talk and dive a little deeper on you and let the people know a little bit about you. Tell us, you know, kind of what were your biggest challenges in your career? You know, and I'm sure you get that question all the time and you probably have a long list, but which ones would you say were the biggest ones and what did you take away from them?
You know, every turn is a challenge, right? So, you know, although I don't, you know, when you're in it, you know it's hard, you know it's a challenge, but my focus was always on, you know, the opportunity. Like, okay, there's an opportunity, where's the opportunity?
That's back to mindset.
But, you know, like early on, the challenge is you don't know. You don't know what to do, you don't know how to do it. So learning that. Back then, one of the challenges with that was, it was so long ago, there was no internet, you know, there were no real trainers, there were no books, there was like, you had to figure it out, and so that was a challenge. You know, it's a lot different now. I'm not going to say easier, but it's just different now because there's a lot more information to be able to educate yourself on what to do and how to do it, and examples and videos and books and everything else that you can learn from. So early on, that was a challenge. I think when I was younger, one of the challenges was my ego. You know, keeping that in check, and part of that was just lack of maturity or lack of business maturity. As my business grew, I needed help, and I had to find good people, and I always attracted, and still always attract really good people. But early on, I was not a good leader, I was not a good manager. In fact, I was a very poor leader, a very poor manager.
I can't even imagine. Young Chris.
Young Chris was focused, driven, and thought everyone else should be focused and driven just like him. And why do I have to tell people they're doing a good job? And, you know, so I just wasn't
empathetic.
No. And so, you know, that was a challenge because that created, you know, turnover. And after a while, I realized that I was the common denominator that needed to fix that. So then start, you know, having kids, and I have 4 of them, and then balancing, you know, other responsibilities and other things you need to do, and that's a challenge. And,
You have no idea how much I can relate, especially when I was playing baseball still. Every team I was on, you know, it was always good intention of like trying to push my teammates, but sometimes I just did it in such ways that it probably hurt. It was more detrimental than anything. And that's part of the competition and that spirit. It's such a gift and a curse, as you said. Sometimes that thing can rile you up and push you over the hump and get you to where you needed to get to, where you otherwise wouldn't. But then other times it can just like burn.
It's, you know, and people, people don't often focus on your intentions. They focus on what you say and what you do.
Yep.
So good intentions only get us so far.
Yeah. I have an Irish friend, Patter, who always says, oh man, I forget. I'm gonna butcher it. I'm not even gonna try. It's something about good intentions and a road to hell or something like that.
That's very Irish.
But Chris, it's been such a pleasure. We're about to walk over the Congress Bridge here. We've got Dominant Thoughts out on Amazon. Chris Heller, Chief Real Estate Officer at Ojo Labs, and nationally recognized real estate professional, someone who's been at the top of the top. Literally, you were the #1 agent in all of Keller Williams in 2009.
Yeah.
What does that even mean? It's unreal, but thank you so much for being here with us today. What would you like to leave the audience with?
Hey, thank you for having me, first of all.
Yeah.
And look, for everyone in our industry, hey, this is a great time to really be focused on the basics and really focused on what you need to do to build deeper relationships with the consumers and to always be building new relationships with the consumers.
That's amazing. Thank you guys so much for joining us in another episode of the Blended Sense Walk and Talk. I'm your host, Albert Baez. Remember to keep walking, remember to keep talking, and stay humble. Don't get that Chris Eagle. But join us on the next episode. Appreciate you guys.